What's up guys, it's Runick here and welcome to another amazing video on the channel. So for today we're coming at you with an amazing deck profile. Should be on Monday if Runick is sticking to schedule, which I'm doing a pretty good job at since I've started my working life. And I also have a couple other businesses on the side, but managing to keep you guys up to date, managing to keep the channel going, which I'm quite proud of myself for doing. And for today we have a unique deck, I think. I haven't seen many of these going around. There was a lot of hype when the ban list sort of brought this deck back. Kind of died off very quickly. I'm on about the Red Rose Dragon archetype. I think it combos very, very well with Runick, and I'm going to be showing you a fun way to play Runick. Runick doesn't always need to be stun. Shout out to Joel, who is amazing at Runick. Just been playing Runick since they came out. Super, super dedicated. And if I ever need tips on what decks to build, Joel will be the guy, I'm sure. But for today, we got the Red Rose Runick. What are the synergies with this deck? Well, it takes one level 3 tuner, which is the Red Rose Dragon, and a level 2 monster, which is the Yugioh, and it basically makes a 3 to 4 negate board. It's kind of insane, and it's very, very efficient at doing that. We maximize on all the copies of consistency. So for consistency, we're rocking a 78% chance of actually opening combo in terms of seeing the Red Rose Dragons, and we have a 94% chance of drawing a Runick card. So those are pretty good numbers to at least open the one dragon with the run Runick spell, which is enough to do the full combo, which is fantastic. Also, we play, well, we need to, if we open 2 Runick spells, this is like amazing because that means we get draws, we get loads of good things happening. And that's a 65% chance, I believe, of opening 2 Runick spells. So not too bad at all. We will more likely than not be able to see 2 Runick spells. This doesn't account for, of course, the draws that we could get with Fountain to see more Runick spells. But we are playing a 37 card deck because I'm playing 3 Upstart Goblin. So I count the calculations as having a 37 card deck going first. Going second, it is different because I usually side out the Upstart Goblins, meaning consistency takes a hit. But we need to in order to be able to play more hand traps and more board breakers. Without any further ado, if you do enjoy this type of content, make sure you do leave a like, smash the subscribe button. We're almost at 4K. I say almost, we're almost halfway to 4K, almost at the 3,500 mark, which is the goal I set at the beginning of the year. If we can hit 4K, that would be amazing. I blabbered on long enough. Let's get you here. Let's show you what you're here for. Let's get to the Red Rose Runick deck profile. So, starting off with the deck profile, let's introduce the little dragon tuners that are now free from the ban list. We've got triple of the Red Rose Dragon and triple of the Rocks Rose Dragon. Why are we playing 3 of each? Well, the deck suffers if you don't actually open these guys, which is why we play maximum copies of them and cards to effectively search them as well. Because if you don't see them, you're effectively playing a Runick deck, which isn't fun for you or the opponent. So we want to be able to have that combo expression, which is the Red Rose and the Rocks Rose. And honestly, one Red Rose Dragon with a Runick summon for Yugioh is actually bonkers. You guys don't know how much that actually accomplishes. I will be showing a combo guide either at the end of this video or in a separate video, depending on the amount of extra combos I can find when I continue testing this deck. So, what does Red Rose Dragon actually do? Well, it's very simple. You're essentially going to normal summon it, and then with a Yugioh, you're going to synchro off into a level 5. And when it is used as synchro material, it specials a Rose Dragon out of the deck, so our Rocks Rose Dragon, which is fantastic. And it also, if we use it for a plant synchro, we're going to be able to add our Frozen Rose from deck to hand, which is a free card, which is absolutely fantastic. You can add that or the Trap. The Trap is not very good, whereas Frozen Rose actually does have some utility, which is why I play Frozen Rose instead. This, when normal or special, is going to actually be able to grab you a card that mentions Black Rose Dragon from your deck to your hand. So that is your Basil Rose Shoot, as you guys were probably aware of if you played that Adventure Synchro pile, as these cards were hit, in that deck because they were very, very good. But also has an effect that actually helps in the grind game. So if a face-up Rose Dragon or Plant Synchro you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add this card back to your hand, which is amazing. Moving on to the spells they search, we play double of the Basil Rose Shoot. You use one in the combo 100% of the time if you are allowed to do the combo. So I like having a second one in deck just to search for follow-up, and actually helps push for OTKs. Remember that you are playing a Runick deck, so by the time you're able to OTK, it's going to be a couple turns. But when you do, having the second Basil Roshru is insane. Why is this card? Well, why'd you play this card? Well, it basically is a quick effect monster reborn, or you can special one from the hand too if you want to be careful with bestials, which I like as well. So what does it do? Well, it specials a Rose Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Remember that. So when I say it helps OTKs, it gives you an extra body to then use as a synchro, is what I mean. But the card's really good. It doesn't target either. So even if you have multiple targets in the grave, they can only bestial one of them. You're still going to be able to get your summon. If for some or whatever reason you set this card and it's destroyed, you can target one of your Black Rose Dragon or monster that lists that card in its text that is banished on your graveyard and special summon it. So it also just acts as a normal monster reborn if it's destroyed as well, which is really good. And we play 2 of it because I prefer having 2 than 1 in the deck. We play 1 of the Frozen Rose. This card is okay. I mean, it's a good card if you consider the fact that you grab it for free because you synchro, you special, and you add this, which is really good as a free card. Its effects could be better, but they have utility, and I'll explain to you why. So this is a quick effect spell. You send a face-up monster you control to the graveyard and apply this effect. The send is cost as well, so they could ash this. And depending on the type that it had on the field, you gain 1 of these bullet points. So if you send a plant during the end phase, you draw 2 cards and discard 1. This is the important effect because if for whatever reason you are out of your Runick engine, for example, you did Fountain Draw and you didn't draw into anything, you can send a plant and then in the end phase draw 2 cards. And if you see a Runick spell, you're back in the game. Your Runick engine's back online, which is absolutely fantastic. If you don't send a plant, if you send something else, you can add a level 4 lower plant from your deck to your hand instead, so you can kickstart your combo for the next turn, which is fantastic. I usually keep this in my hand, and then during my opponent's turn, when I have my negates, if they want to chain anything to the negate, for example, if I have an effect and they're going to use something, I want to negate it, and then they chain, let's say, a droplet, and they don't send a spell, you're actually able to chain the Frozen Rose and send the card that is negating something in the field to the graveyard and just dodge targeting just like that. And in the end phase, start your engine, which is really good in those situations. And for the last card, we have the Black Garden. No, this is an FTK. I know when you see Black Garden, there's lots of, I'm going to say shenanigans going on, but in this deck, it's actually pretty important to play the Black Garden. It is searchable, of course, off of your Garden Rose Maiden, and it is a weird field spell, I'm not going to lie. It basically summons tokens to your opponent's side of the field, and then you've got to destroy those tokens and summon a monster from your graveyard that has the total attack of all plant monsters on the field, and the tokens come out with 800 attack and defense. So you can destroy 1 token and get an 800 attacker, or you can destroy 2 tokens and get a 1600 attacker. Thankfully, the Garden Rose Maiden is 1600 attack. It's like Konami thought of this, so it works pretty well. And then, of course, you destroy the tokens. But while you have those tokens, you can't be impermed. You couldn't be gammed if that was still a thing. Well, it is. You can play it at 1. So it's all right. The thing I like about Black Garden is that Garden Rose Maiden can pick this up from the graveyard, meaning if you need a Hugin discard and you open the Black Garden, you got a free pitch right there, because then the Garden Rose Maiden will pick it straight back up from the graveyard, which is really nice when that works out. So this is the mini Dragon Synchro part of the deck. We have the 6 monsters, the 2 Basil, the 1 Frozen Rose, and the 1 Black Garden. So it's 10 cards out of our total 40, 37 if you count the triple upstart. So it's a good amount. I know it's not pure. If you guys want pure, do let me know, and I will make a pure deck profile. But I just think with the Runicks, it's the best way to play these guys at the moment. Moving on to the Runick stuff. Double Fountain, of course. It's at 2. We play 2. If it was at 3, we'd play 3. Broken card. Honestly, I don't know why they didn't make this a hard one per turn. Essentially, what does it do? Well, your quick play spells can be activated from your hand, which is really nice. And then once per turn, if you activate a Runick quick play spell card, you can target up to 3 quick play spells in your graveyard, place them on the bottom of the deck in any order, and draw the same number of cards. So the card is absolutely fantastic. And of course, it's not a hard once per turn, meaning if you just slap on another Runick Fountain, you can draw 3 again, which is really, really good. Main card of the Runicks, triple tip. Cards crazy. Do it during the draw phase to play around draw, obviously. Every time you activate one of these Runick quick plays, you got to skip your next battle phase, so keep that in mind. If you do want to push for OTKs, you got to get rid of the Runick restriction first. It doesn't stack in terms of if you activate 4 Runicks, you miss 4 battle phases. It's just the 1. What does it do? Well, you add a Runick card from your deck to your hand, and then your opponent has to banish the top card of their deck, which is actually really good, because not only are you able to get more Runicks in the graveyard for your fountain, but you can also banish crucial pieces off your opponent's deck. Also, all the Runick quick plays have the alternate effect to special summon a Runick monster from the extra deck to the extra monster zone, but usually tip is just for the searching. For the other Runicks, triple of the Flashing Fire. Again, we play 3 of all the good ones because we need to see these guys. And even going first, you may think, yo, you can't destroy anything. Well, you can just use it to summon instead. So this destroys a special summon monster opponent controls, and then it banishes the top 2 of the opponent's deck. Again, really, really good. I don't know why they gave Runicks that sort of banish from the top. I feel like they wanted that as the win condition in a way, but honestly, they would have been fine without it. Because this just promotes unhealthy. You have a win con in this deck, and it's basically banish your opponent's deck and then make them lose to deck out, which is not a nice win condition, but it's there. It's always nice to have. And of course, you can always have the special summon with the Flashing Fire. We have triple of the Freezing Curses, which is a monster negation and a special summon from the extra deck. Again, it's very good. And we have triple of the Runick Destruction, which is back row 8 actually. Banishes the top 4. Forgot to mention that the Freezing Curses banishes 3, and this one banishes 4. So they go up, they go 1, 2, 3, 4. They go up in order. And again, acts as an E-Tally 2. We have double of the Runick Slumber. This is a pretty important one most of the time, because this is our main search. We're going to be able to search this and immediately use it, and that's going to trigger our fountain. You may be thinking, why aren't you playing 3? We don't necessarily want to be seeing 2 slumbers in our hand, so I just play the 2 copies instead, which lowers the chances of that, while also still being searchable. And we play the one of the Runick Dispelling, which is if your opponent adds a card from the deck to the hand, you can discard a random card from their hand and banish the top 2 cards, which is really nice. Also acts as an emergency teleport target as well. So this is 15 Runick spells, which, as I said in the beginning of the video, gives us a 94% chance in a 37 card deck to actually open one of these, which is really, really nice, because once we see one and we have our red rose, we're cooking. We got a combo going, which is why I think it's really important that you don't play anything less than 15. You could bump it up. You could play 3 Slumber and maybe another Dispelling just to increase it to 17 and increase your chances of opening 2 as well. But as I said, the deck's fairly consistent as it is, and going second, you know, we don't play many hand traps. I think we only play 6, but we have the Runick cards, which do help break boards as well. Remember, we don't have a battle phase, so we got to be careful with that. We can't just use the battle phase as a free out to cards. We actually got to play through things. For the hand traps, we've got triple of the Ash Blossom and triple of the Effect Veiler. Why did I play these? Ash is just very good. Veiler isn't once per turn, meaning if we draw multiple off the Runick Fountain, we can immediately use it, providing it's the main phase. And these are also my small world targets. Yes, we play small world as well, because we really need to see the dragons. And we do play a small world specific bridge as well. But Ash and Veiler work perfectly with the bridge to essentially add us our Red Rose Dragon, which is exactly why we need to play them. And they're also good to draw. As you know, hand traps are always good to draw. For small world, triple small world, and the 1 small world target, which is the Archfiend Eccentric. Why did I feel playing small world was necessary? Why wouldn't I just play Pot of Desires instead? Well, I feel like with Pot of Desires, it's a good card. You draw 2, of course, but you can banish a lot of stuff, and that makes it awkward in the grind game. I don't want to make it awkward. I want to make it very simple for me. I want to just resolve the combo and control the game state. So this is why I play 3 small world and the Archfiend Eccentric. If you don't know what small world does, you reveal a monster in your hand. So you can either reveal Eccentric, you can either reveal Ash Blossom, you could either reveal Veiler. If you already have the Red Rose Dragons, you can just discard this for Yugioh. You don't need it because you already have access. And essentially add a monster that matches either one of these criteria, which is type, attribute, level, attack, or defense. And then you banish the one from your hand and the one from the deck. So if you go Veiler or Ash into Eccentric, these match up just through level, and then this matches up with Red Rose just through level as well. If we go into Archfiend Eccentric, or if we go into Veiler, Veiler matches with attribute to Eccentric, and Eccentric matches exactly with level only to the Red Rose. So again, allows us effectively 9 copies of the dragons. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th copy is this of the dragons. We do have to pay the Eccentric. It's not bad if you open it anyway. You can just scale it if you don't want. If you open the Eccentric and Small World, by the way, I forgot to mention, you can't actually get the Red Rose, but you can get Rocks Rose instead, which is still combo, so it's fine. And if you don't have small world and you open it, you can always scale it to pop back row or normal it and then just tribute it to destroy a card in the field. So it's not even that bad, to be honest with you. It's a pretty good bridge as far as bridges go. And I've mentioned it all throughout the video, triple of the upstart goblin. We're not really killing our opponent through battle anyway, so might as well give them the life points. And even if we give them, let's say, 1,000 life points, all of our monsters, all of our big synchro monsters have like 3,000 attack anyway. So it's not like this really matters too much because we'd always be killing them 3, 6, 9. So we'd always be killing them with 1,000 extra anyway. But this really helps with consistency. If you don't have upstart, play triple pot desires. But as I said, that's pretty risky, especially if you do plan on playing the small world engine as well. That's 40 cards, 37 if you count the upstarts. Helps with consistency. Let's now move on into the extra deck. Let's start off with the extra deck. Of course, we got the Runick monsters. We got the double Yugioh. Absolutely amazing card. We do use one in the combo, and we have double Gary because if we open 2 Runick spells, we do use one in the combo as well. Yugioh is very good, allowing us to discard any card and grab the Runick field spell, which is amazing. Also, you can summon it during our opponent's turn if they threaten to out the fountain, summon the Yugioh. It has the replacement effect that protects our fountain from destruction. And then you can trigger the fountain as well, which is really, really nice. Gary, again, and it's a level 2. By the way, forgot to mention it's level 2. So this and your Red Rose Dragon is a level 5, which Garden Road Maiden is. And then you can go full combo, which is amazing. We have double of the Gary, the Runick Fangs. This card's good. We make it mostly because it's a level 4 and allows us to go straight into level 7s if we don't want to go into the level 5s. But it also is able to just grab a Runick Fountain directly from the graveyard if it's there. And if it is destroyed by battle, you can target one card in the field and destroy it. And this cannot be destroyed by card effects either. So it's kind of annoying to out sometimes. So double Gary, double Yugioh. There's not enough space to play any of the other ones. No Slipnir. Plus Slipnir doesn't actually add up properly with the levels anyway. So we just play these 4. For the Garden Rose cards, we have a Garden Rose Flora, which is a retrain of the Garden Rose Maiden. Maiden is our main combo starter, extender. It's fantastic. I'm going to read what this card does first, and then we're going to go into the Flora. You don't really go into Flora too much, but it does threaten a Black Rose during your opponent's turn, and it just will wipe the field, which is fantastic. So if this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Black Garden from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is where it comes up clutch with Yugioh. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 Rose Dragon monster or Dragon Synchro monster in your graveyard, and special summon it. So it has 2 amazing effects. Grab Black Garden, banish it, and either special a Dragon Synchro. Doesn't mention has to be Black Rose. So you can get like your Crystal Wings back from the grave if you link them off for whatever reason. Or you can, for the most part, bring back one of the dragons and have 3 tuner bodies throughout your combo, which is amazing. Garden Rose Flora, what does it do? Well, again, it takes the same conditions. It's almost the same card, really. Remember, this has 800 attack and this has 16. So this 1 token and this takes 2 tokens of the Black Rose Garden. You can target 1 card in your field zone, destroy it, then special summon to its controller's field 1 Rose token. Kind of funny if you use this to blow up your opponent's field spell, you just give them a token. That's come up like once, but usually you blow up your Black Garden and then you give yourself a token, which is level 2, and this is a level 5, allowing you an immediate board wipe during your opponent's turn. Also, you are plant restricted, or you are synchro restricted for the rest of the turn, but that doesn't really matter too much because you are synchro deck. And then once per chain during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, special summon this card you control. Be careful chaining this to your opponent's cards because Black Rose is a when and not an if, meaning it's going to miss timing. So you usually have to do this on the resolution of effects. That's effect resolved. Okay, on resolution, Garden Rose Flora, Synchro, Black Rose, board wipe. If you do this as a chaining 2 or higher, your Black Rose is going to summon and you're going to miss timing, which is frustrating. Black Rose was made many, many years ago before any of these cards were a thing, so there's no way they could have, thought ahead with that. Speaking of the Black Rose, here she is, our beautiful Black Rose Dragon. I'm tempted to pick up a Ghost Rare of this because I really like this deck and I kind of want to max rarity it. I don't know why. And having a Ghost Rare Black Rose Dragon would be absolutely beautiful to go with this deck. But what does it do? I think we all know what Black Rose Dragon does. When this card is synchro summon, you can destroy all monsters all cards on the field, meaning you don't have to use it if you make it during your turn. Once per turn, banish 1 plant monster from your graveyard, target 1 defense position monster opponent controls, change that target to face-up attack, and if you do, its attack becomes 0. This effect doesn't really come up because with the Runick cards, we're not really going to be destroying anything by battle often. But it's there, and we can use it because these are plants. Just remember that. So, amazing card. Really like I think one of my favorite cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. Just the artwork is so sick, and the Ghost Rares look absolutely beautiful, and so do the Ultimate Rares as well. Not only that, we can actually play the Ancient Fairy Dragon in this deck, so we can play a lot of the signature dragons, which is really, really nice. And Ancient Fairy serves a cool purpose, actually being able to tag out your Black Garden into your Runick Fountain, or your Runick Fountain into your Black Garden. And that's effectively what we play it for. So it takes a tuner and a non-tuner. It is a level 7. And then during your main phase, you can special summon one level 4 or lower monster from your hand. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect, which, keep in mind, with Runics, means you have to actually skip your next battle phase, because you cannot conduct, you cannot attempt to enter and skip. But what does it do? Well, during your main phase, you can destroy as many cards in the field zones as possible, gain 1,000, add a field spell with a different name from the destroyed cards from your deck to your hand. You can also just special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand, which comes up as well for extension with the Rose Dragons, as this is level 7 and they're level 3, can make a 10. Really, really nice. So this is sort of it for the combo bits. Let's move on to now the end board pieces, and we're going to get a proxy here. I apologize, but I will put it on the screen. We have one FA Dawn Dragster, and we also have double of the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Now, you may think, why double Crystal Wing? Do we really need 2? Yes, we do need 2. The combo ends with 2 double Crystal Wing Synchro Dragons and the 1 FA Dawn Dragster. So we do need to play them for that reason. Our end board is something like this. We have the FA Dawn Dragster in defense. We have 1 Crystal Wing in defense because of Black Garden, and then 1 in attack. So we have 2 monster negates and a spell negate every single turn, which is fantastic. And remember, if we do eventually get to attack, one of these will have 1/5, but this is 3k, 4/5. This will have something like 2,000 attack as well, so that's almost enough for a game as is as well. So really, really nice. There is a proxy here, guys, so just keep that in mind. I have ordered it. It will come God knows when. But until then, I'm using this proxy. But just keep in mind, this is a FA Dawn Dragster. For our level 10 synchros, 1 Chaos Angel, which we can actually get light and dark in this deck, which is pretty cool. But again, synchro deck, on a synchro is going to be able to just banish a card on the field. You can use a light or dark monster you control as a tuner, but we don't need to do that because we have the Rose Dragons. And it gives you protection. If you use a light monster as material, your synchro monsters are unaffected by monster effects, which is fantastic. If you use a dark, they cannot be destroyed in battle. So you can make all your synchros towers, and then eventually you'll be able to hit in with some and do lots of damage and potentially win the game, which is really, really nice. We have 1 Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Chen Ying. We can actually choose kind of when to banish cards in this deck, especially with the Runick stuff. So we can just, whenever we want, activate a Runick, banish a card from our opponent's top of opponent's deck, trigger Chen Ying, IDP the field. If you don't know what IDP does, it banishes 1 card in the grave and field, which is amazing. Also, this card gains 100 attack and defense for each banished card, and makes your opponent's monsters lose 100 attack and defense for each banished card. So this can get pretty big pretty quick, especially considering it reduces your opponent's attack as well. And if it would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish a card from the graveyard instead, which is amazing, which again would trigger the Chen Ying, which is really nice. And for the last level 10, we have 1 of the Ruddy Rose Dragon. Yes, we play this card because it is part of the archetype, and we can actually use its effect, which is amazing. So it's a level 10, so it takes the Black Rose and a level 3, or there's other ways of getting around it. It doesn't have to necessarily be Black Rose, but if this card is synchro summoned, you can banish all cards from the graveyards. Then if this card was summoned using Black Rose Dragon or 1 plant synchro, you can destroy all other cards on the field. This card is insane when you actually manage to make it. Not only banishes all the graveyards, but destroys all other cards on the field too. When your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy a card, you contribute this card, negate the activation, and special summon 1 Black Rose Dragon from your extra deck or graveyard. Amazing card. Absolutely amazing. If you don't use the Black Rose, you're actually just able, when you do try to out something on your field, negate the activation, summon the Black Rose. It won't actually get its effect. It doesn't consider it as a synchro summon, which is a shame. But really good, just free Black Rose onto the field, which we play anyway, so why not play this? And then for the only Link monster in the deck, SP Little Knight. Just because there is some combo lines where we do link off the Crystal Wing into an SP, and then we just reborn the Crystal Wing by banishing the Garden Rose Maiden. So SP is in that for that reason. If they sort of debarrier us calling Synchro, we actually want to be able to do something with our Yugioh and our monster, so we just make an SP Little Knight instead. So that is the end of the deck profile. I think I'm going to do the combo tutorial in a different video, but make sure you do stick around for that, as this deck is very, very nuts when it comes to that. As I said, ending on 2 Crystal Wings and 1 FA Dawn Dragster is nothing to scoff about. And I hope I see you all then. I hope you guys did enjoy this version of the Red Rose deck. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a pure version, which involves more of like the Rose Witches, I believe. But until then, I'm Rogue here, and I'll see you all in the next video.
It's time! Let's go!